Round two, game twos continue on Thursday night. 2 down, 2 to go. No pun intended, but we're talking about game twos for both Cavaliers, Celtics, and of course, Mavericks, Thunder right here. Full deep dive analysis, side totals, player props, everything you need to get ready for the two games on ESPN National TV Thursday night. Free for you here in this video in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV for your two Thursday night games, May the 9th. And they're both now on ESPN. We're shifting from TNT to ESPN, so get your remote ready. And the first one, of course, starts tonight on Thursday for you at 7 o'clock Eastern, and that is Cleveland-Boston. The biggest mismatch in round two. Not a surprise. Celtics are a huge favorite after their easy 25-point win in Game 1. But that was a terrible spot for Cleveland, and we talked about it on Tuesday in the Game 1 preview. I mentioned how my friend and colleague at Wager Talk, Ralph Michaels, had a great chart on his Twitter page. Game 1 teams that are coming off of Game 7 as Cleveland does and are a dog of 4 or more against a well-rested team like Boston that had finished their series in 6 games or less. Well, those teams were just 5-25 straight up. Now they're 5-26. Now they're just 9-32 ATS. So Cleveland was up against it. They were in a historically bad spot in Game 1, and it showed. The question becomes, can they do something now in Game 2? Well, the Celtics are the best team in the NBA. They're the NBA favorites for a reason. Very good offense, defense, great three-point shooting team. But the one weakness for Boston, and we saw this last year when they lost to the inferior Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, is that they often take their foot off the gas in unfocused spots. We saw that in Game 2 of that Celtics-Heat series last round. The only game that Miami won, the only game they covered, was Game 2 as a huge road dog after getting blown out in Game 1. So I do think if Cleveland has a chance to keep it close, this is the game. Now, if they get down 0-2, perhaps Game 3 back at home this weekend will be a letdown spot for Boston. But the Celtics on the road seem to bring it. In fact, they've been a better road playoff team the last couple years than home. In fact, they lost both games 1, 2, and 7. They lost 3 of the 4 home games last year in that Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. And they lost 1 of the 3 home games in the first round a couple weeks ago. So I do think Cleveland is worth a look here as the big dog. Yes, they could get blown out again. They're the inferior team, but there's a couple other things that keep them in this game most likely. And first of all, it's the fact that they're a good defensive team, a slow-down half-court team. That will help them cover as a big dog. And Boston relies heavily on the three-point shot. And once again, they were plus 21 points from three-point range in Game 1. They won by 25. But the Cavs were able to hang in there otherwise. In fact, if you look at that box score, you'll see that points in the paint were dead even, 42 each. Fast break points, Cleveland actually had a 17-12 edge. So there are some metrics that makes you think Cleveland can be competitive. And once again, it was a terrible spot for them. The quick one-day travel and rest situation after an emotional Game 7 home win was a really bad situation. So I don't read too much into the Game 1 result. I do think Cleveland could hang here. And what's interesting is that the spot is actually worse for Boston now, or better for Cleveland. Celtics closed as high as a 12.5. It was 11, went up to 12.5 point favorite in Game 1. Now we're seeing them as a 13.5 point favorite in Game 2. So the line is actually higher, even though the situation favors Cleveland. So there is some line value now because of that. And also the Cavaliers, if you just use raw metrics for the season, were about 9 to 10 points weaker net rating. Factor in 3 points for home court, you get to 12, but neither team have to travel. So once again, this line is inflated. The line value is now with Cleveland. The question becomes, can they keep it competitive? If the Celtics come a little less than 100% focus, I think Cleveland can hang in this Game 2 on Thursday night. As far as the total, we can't read much from Game 1 because, yes, 115 points were scored, but it was a blowout. It was a 10-point game at the half. The Celtics won by 25. So those blowouts don't often indicate the true pace of play. Less fouls. Each team had only 14 and 13 free throw attempts. Well below what the number would normally be. But even using the pace of that game with less free throws, my rescoring pace model got to 221. However, there were only 11 turnovers. Each team had about half their normal turnovers, which means there were more scoring opportunities, and obviously that also takes away loss of basket opportunities. So bumping the 221, we get down to about 210 with the turnovers factored in, which is right around the 211.5 the Game 1 total was closing at. And then, of course, now we see the Game 2 total priced at 212. So a little bit of a bump higher. The pace was faster in Game 1 than expected. But once again, I don't want to read too much into that as the box score can be misleading when it's a blowout game. As far as player props, let's look at the Game 1 to see who overperformed, underperformed. Obviously, Boston in the blowout win, we expect them to play very well. Brown was 4 for 6 from three-point range. Tatum's a guy that jumps out to me, though. We've talked a lot about Tatum. he's kind of a zigzag guy in general in the playoffs. One good, one bad, one good, one bad. Boston wins by 25, and he was 0 for 5 from three-point range and only 7 for 19 shooting. Only had 18 points, but he did have a double-double with 11 rebounds. So I guess the bad news for Cleveland is that Tatum was very mediocre, and they still blew him out by 25. But Tatum's a guy that does seem to zigzag, and after 4 straight unders now, he's had 22 or less in 4 straight games, including just 18 in Game 1 of this series. His under 26.5, his over 26.5 points might be worth a look as he bounces back. And his points and rebounds, he's now gone under 4 straight, and he's gone under in every playoff game except for 1 so far. That's set at 36.5. He had 29 in Game 1. So once again, I think one of the reasons he's going under is they've priced him to perfection, and he's having trouble leaving up to the lack of line value. But once again, I do look for Tatum to have a better scoring game at least. So maybe over 26.5 is worth a look there, as he does have a tendency to kind of zig and zag in the NBA postseason. We saw this last year as well. As far as Cleveland, obviously Donovan Mitchell is their go-to guy, and even though they lost by 25, he still had 33 points, and he took a lot of shot attempts. He took more than double the shot attempts almost anybody else on the team except for Garland. Garland had 15 shots. Mitchell had 25, but he took 11 from 3. Garland took 8 from 3, so they took 19 of their 42 three-point attempts came from Mitchell and Garland. Mitchell, 33 points, but I'm not looking to play against him, especially if it's a bounce-back spot for Cleveland. His point total is at 29.5, which is the highest it's been in any playoff game. But he's had 33, 39, and 50 his last 3, and 28 the game before that. So probably not much value left with the Mitchell over prop, but once again, I'm not looking to fade him. Garland is a guy, Darius Garland is a guy I do think could step up. I like his point prop over 16 here in Game 2. He had 14 points in Game 1 the other night. He missed getting over the total, but once again, only 6 for 15 shooting and only 2 for 8 from 3, and he did not attempt a free throw, and he still got to 14 points. So I like Garland over 16 points. That would be my favorite player prop in this Game 2 on Thursday night. All right, we're going to look at Mavericks Thunder Game 2 in a moment. Just a quick reminder, I post a daily free play, normally in baseball this time of year. I'm giving you all my free advice here basically on the NBA videos every day, but I do post a free baseball play every day. So if you're interested in baseball, if you want to learn more, if you want to build your bankroll, be sure to check out my page each and every day for free plays, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget about those baseball best bets. I know we're talking NBA. I know you realize that the NBA playoffs are off to a great start. I know I was number 1 this year. I still am number 1 this year in the NBA, and it's not a surprise because I'm number 1 all-time units won in the history of Wager Talk, in the entire website's history. No one's won more units in the NBA than I have, and I've won the most this year again this season as well. So yes, the NBA playoffs are great. You can get the rest of the NBA playoffs for just $115. It's the lowest price of the season. Once again, the rest of the NBA playoffs, the complete second round, which just begun, Eastern and Western Conference Finals Round 3, NBA Finals Round 4 is all available still. More than half the playoffs remain, and you get it for the lowest price, just $115. No promo code needed. It's on my page. Go to the drop down on the right-hand side. Select basketball, rest of season, $115. Now, if you want baseball and basketball, I highly recommend an all-sports subscription. We do have the buy 7, get 11 promo still running this week. It's a 7-day package for $99, and we're throwing in 4 more bonus days, so you get 11 days for the price of 7. That works out to just $9 a day. No promo code needed. It's on the main page. Go below my daily best bets, and then you'll see the daily free play. And right below that, you will see the buy 7, get 11 promo. Also, you will see the baseball through the All-Star break special price there. No promo code needed either. So once again, discount on NBA playoffs, baseball for the next half of the season, or the buy 7, get 11. Or if you're ready for a serious long-term investment approach, and you really should be, that's how you win consistently and you save the most. How about the All Sports All Access 1 year for just $3 a day? That's about $1 a play. That's every college and pro basketball play. The rest of this playoffs, all the way through next year's playoffs till the second round. All of next year's college basketball. All of next year's college football. All of pro football. Rest second half of this baseball season and all the first half of next year. It's a full 365 days and nights whenever you start. And you get an instant $800 discount by using promo code SM365. Once again, go to my page, the drop-down, the All Sports drop-down. You'll see the 1-year special. And be sure to enter promo code SM365 at checkout for an instant $800 discount. Works out to just $3 a day, about $1 a play, every sport, every day for the next full year. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. By the way, no matter which option you choose, whichever package, daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, annual, you get the same plays. Every client gets the same plays I am personally using each day. If I'm using it, you get it. Doesn't matter which package you buy. I just give you the bit different options because some of you are just starting and want to sample it. These others of you have been with me for monthly seasonal packages, been watching these videos, and you know I win long term, and you're ready for that direct subscription for a full year. That's why I wanted to give you the huge discount of the 1 year, because that's what you really need to be in. But no matter which option you package you choose, you get every play, the same plays. Every client gets the same plays. And by the way, my last 20 are recapped. Every day my games are recapped. The minute they go live, they're on the page. You can click on read the analysis, and they're graded afterwards. True transparency. And once again, #1 all time in units won in the NBA, and that's why we are crushing the NBA playoffs this year. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker. Shortcut WT.buzz/SM. All right, one game down, one to go. Let's look at the late night game at 9:30 Eastern Thursday on ESPN as well. And that, of course, is Mavericks Thunder Game 2. And a couple things jump out to us here. First of all, I did like Oklahoma City as a strong client best bet. Had that on Tuesday night, one of the many winners we've had this year with that #1 NBA ranking, and it was an easy 22-point blowout winner. Mavericks hung with them early as I thought they might, but the Thunder pulled away, led by as many as 25. Mavericks never led by more than 3 the whole game. Really nothing misleading about it. Oklahoma City also had the points in the paint edge down low. And if you look at the three-point shooting, OKC was plus 12 from 3. But overall, they won the game by 22, so they're still plus 10 elsewhere. So they really did dominate the game as expected. And keep in mind, they've won 4 of the 5 head-to-head meetings this year. But as I pointed out in my Game 1 preview here on Tuesday for you, it's a little misleading because Doncic and Irvin only played together in one of those 4 regular season matchups. And that was the game Dallas won by almost 30-some points. So Dallas did perform well in the one regular season game. They did not look too good, though, in Game 1. Felt like it was a better spot for OKC, and I feel like they're the better team. They're my preferred side here in this series. With that said, though, if Dallas is going to get a game, it's probably the bounce-back spot here in Game 2 off the blowout loss. Game 1 line was only 4, and I thought it was a good spot for OKC. Now the spot is probably a little bit weaker, and the line is 5. So this is very similar to that Boston-Cleveland game in which they've inflated the line, even though the situation is actually probably better now for the underdog. Public sentiment, I will continue to give you my public indicators when I see them. Both games are pretty neutral. Once again, I did not see much public sentiment so far in either one of these games on the side or total for Thursday night. Let's look at the total, though. I want to talk about the total here for a few reasons. I've mentioned the rescore model I do for all the games. Well, once again, this was a blowout, just like the Boston-Cleveland game one, so we got to be careful reading too much from the rescore because it was a 22-point margin. Turnovers were about normal. Free throws attempted were actually pretty high, 53 free throws attempted. The difference, though, is that Dallas did not shoot well. They only shot 39% from the field, only 68% from the free throw line. OKC, despite winning by 22, though, only shot 45%, below what you would expect, but they were red hot from 3, 46%, and that was the difference in Game 1. Putting all that together, the pace of play, the normal expected shooting percentages, I got a rescore of around 230. Now, Game 1 stayed under the total. It ended up with just 212 points, stayed under the closing line of 218.5. And now for the adjustment in Game 2, there's been no adjustment. The odds makers kept it at 218.5. I actually rescored it at 230. So pace of play was fast, and that's not a surprise. If you look at the offensive metrics, both of these were top 10 teams this year. Pace of play, both top 10. Possessions, both top 10. And if you look at the regular season meetings, we had a total in the first one back in December, early December, 234.5. It landed 246. Then that game in which everybody played for both sides, the only regular season matchup with Irvin and Doncic in there, as I mentioned, closed 239, 146, 111. That 35-point win got to 257 points. And then, of course, we saw 233.5, 226.5 in the other two meetings in March and April. 218.5 for Game 1 stayed under, yes, but the pace was fast, and it's priced once again at 218.5. So I do think there's some value with the over this game with my rescore pointing 230, and it should be a more competitive game, obviously, after Dallas got blown out in Game 1. As player props here, let's see what we're looking at. The big three I like to focus on for OKC. I was really kind of neutral on them in Game 1. I thought they would perform well because I liked OKC as a play for my clients. But that, of course, is SGA, Williams, and Holmgren. SGA had 29 points, 8 for 19 shooting, got to the free throw line 13 times. That was really the key there. So he's pretty much priced where he should be. Holmgren's a guy that's interesting. He was only 8 for 16 shooting. I say only. 50% is really good, but he's a big guy, so that's about norm for him. 2 for 5 from 3. That's about where he stands. He got to 19. But the guy that might actually have a better game here is Jalen Williams. He went under his 20.5 with only 18 points. He got to 18 points, though, shooting overall in Game 1. Just 6 for 15 from the field and still got to 18. So if he takes around that amount of shots again, and he only played 35 minutes in the blowout. I think Jalen Williams is worth a look to his point prop over 20.5, which is where it was in game 1 when he got 18, but he did not shoot well and still almost got over it. Keep in mind, he had 21 or more straight in the 3 previous playoff games against the Pelicans and 19 in the others. So the only 2 he's missed, he's had 18 and 19. He's been 21 or more in the others. I think he gets over 20.5. Jalen Williams worth a look there as far as Thunder props. And as far as your Dallas Maverick props go, it's a 2-man team. Doncic and Irving, obviously, they had 39 points. Doncic was only 6 for 19 shooting. He was only 1 for 8 from 3. So if Dallas bounces back, he's obviously going to have more than 19 points. The concern, though, with Doncic props, and I mentioned this in my Game 1 preview, is that he's not healthy. Now, as we check the overnight injury report going into Thursday, he's not even listed anymore with the knee injury, but his knee is still bothering him, and his shooting percentage has been very poor in the playoffs, and his three-point shooting percentage has actually been borderline on horrendous, especially now after such a bad showing in Game 1, in which the other night, once again, he was only, 1 for 8 from three-point range, just 6 for 19 overall, and he still got to 19 points. So he's taken a lot of shots, and that would normally get him over, but I'm concerned using him because of that knee injury. Now, 9 assists was right where we thought he would be. He did not quite get over his assist point prop, which I believe, 9.5? We talked about him going over assist in Game 1, and it came close, but he didn't quite get there with just 9. He fell short by half an assist, but once again, that was a blowout and a terrible shooting percentage by Dallas, 3 and from the field. He still got 9 assists, so I do like Doncic over 9.5 assists once again. And if this game plays out anywhere norm for Dallas as far as shooting percentages, he should get there because he's not shooting well. He knows he's injured. He's going to look to dish the ball more, in my opinion. I think Doncic over 9.5 assists is the best way to play this. He just missed it in Game 1. Despite a terrible shooting night, he still got 9 assists. And keep in mind, his previous 3 games against the Clippers, he had 10 assists or more. In fact, in all 7 playoff games so far, he's had 9 assists or more. He's had 10 or more in almost half of them, and his total's at 9.5. So I like Doncic over 9.5 assists here in Game 2 on Thursday night. And if we're leery on his points, they're going to probably have to come from Kyrie Irving. He had 20 in Game 1, 7 for 14 shooting, 3 for 4 from three-point range. Problem is he ended up with just 20 points. He can't shoot much better. So I do think he's priced to perfection probably. But once again, you got to figure he's going to get some of the points. Question becomes, who else might get some points? Well, let's look at a guy we haven't talked about all postseason, Daniel Gafford. He had 16 points, easily went over his 8.5, and he has now had 13 and 16 in his last 2 playoff games. Problem is they've bumped it almost 20%. He was at 7.5 to 8.5. Now he's at 10.5. But I still think Gafford over 10.5 is the only way to play it. And the reason I say that is because he took 12 shot attempts and only made 5 of them and still got to 16 points. So it looks like Gafford is picking up the slack from Doncic's shooting woes. So even though Irving, there might not much be value there, I think Gafford's a guy that could go over once again his points props like he has the last couple games. All right, this is a deep dive into Games 2s for you on Thursday night between the Mavs, Thunder, Cavaliers, Celtics. If you're finding it useful, do me a couple quick favors. First of all, thumbs up, like. It takes half a second. These free videos, they don't cost nothing. Thumbs up, like, keep it going. And if you want to see me continue to do this on a daily basis, please comment below and let me know, and I will keep it going. I've analyzed every playoff game every day this postseason, and I will keep doing so as long as you find it useful. So comment below, let me know if you're liking this stuff, and I will keep it coming each and every day. So make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you click the bell as well so you know instantly when these videos go up. You know, we've been playing around with graphics, getting up a little bit later with graphics, getting them up early without. Sometimes I'm going to try to get them up the night before because we do have days off now that they're staggering the games more. I'm recording this one the day before for you to try to get it up nice and early on Thursday. So once again, comment below. Let me know when you watch the videos. I know many of you say you watch them driving to work. I thought that was awesome. Not something I thought about. Another reason I'm trying to get them up nice and early for you. So please comment below. I do truly read every comment, and I reply back to the vast majority of them, time permitting. So once again, I read all comments. I reply back to as many as I can. And the input, the feedback is very valuable to make this a better product for you. So once again, thumbs up, like, comment below, hit subscribe, and hit that bell for an instant alert so you know when these videos go up each and every day of the NBA postseason. And once again, if you want my personal best bets for Thursday, they're available on my page every day. My plays on my page. Lots of P words. Some I definitely won't say on this video. But seriously, baseball is here. It's a daily sport. I know the NBA playoffs are daily. We're not going to have as many best bets every day because there's only 1 or 2 games. I never force anything. but there's still lots of playoffs to go. Over half the playoffs remain, and that's why you get the lowest price of the season right now, just $115 for the rest of the NBA. We do have the summer special right now for the baseball through the All-Star break, or if you want to combine both sports, consider that buy 7, get 11 days, all sports for just $9 a day, or the Big Daddy package. Once again, a 1-year all sports, all access, $800 discount with promo code SM365. No matter which option you choose, you get my personal best bets. Every client gets the same plays every day, and they're documented every day as well. Check it out. Along with that free play, don't miss the daily free play. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Always enjoy doing these videos. I appreciate you watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll be back each and every day with more content, both baseball and basketball. Stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV. More baseball and basketball previews are coming up next.